Ladies and gentlemen, the conference is about to commence in a few moments. Therefore, I would like you to mute your microphones in order to avoid interruption. Thank you very much for your kind attention and cooperation. The Honorable Rector and Vice Rectors of Universitas Sriwijaya, the Honorable Chairman for Agriculture Science of BKS-PTN West Region of Indonesia, Chairman of Rector Forum and Executive Secretary of BKS-PTN West Region of Indonesia, all Deans of Agriculture faculty from BKS-PTN West Region of Indonesia, Director and Vice Director of Graduate Programs, Head of Learning Development and Education Quality Assurance Institution, Research and Community Service, International Office, the distinguished keynote speakers, dear presenters and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon you and very good morning. It is a great pleasure for me to be your host in this event. I am Santi Ditastari. On behalf of the committee, would like to extend our warmest welcome to the Sriwijaya Conference on Sustainable Environment, Agriculture and Farming System, today, September 29, 2021. The umbrella theme of this conference is Sustainable Agriculture for a Better Future. This conference is held virtually via Zoom platform and can be streamed online on YouTube. This event is organized by Agriculture Faculty Universitas Sriwijaya, Indonesia, and co-organized by Kasetsart University, Thailand, University Putra Malaysia, Malaysia, Murray State University, USA, Southeast Asian Regional Center for Graduate Study and Research in Agriculture, SAC-SAFSE, and also Charun Papan Indonesia, and supported by BKS-PTN West Region of Indonesia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to begin this event today, let us recite Basmalah. Before we proceed further, I would like to invite all participants present in this room to stand up straight for the singing of our national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Ladies and gentlemen, please all rise. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Next, we would like to present to you all a Palembangese dance, Gending Sriwijaya, which is a traditional performance depicts the splendor, cultural refinement, glory, and the grandeur of Sriwijaya Empire that once ruled the maritime Southeast Asia and succeed on unifying the western part of Indonesian archipelago and Malay. The capital of Sriwijaya Empire is Palembang, the city where this conference is held. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gending Sriwijaya.
Merindukan keluhuran dahulu.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we're moving to the opening remarks. The quick word about this session, we will have speeches delivered by Dean of Agriculture Faculty, Universitas Sriwijaya, Chairman for Agriculture Science of BKS-PTN West Region of Indonesia, and Rector of Universitas Sriwijaya, which will be delivered by Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation Affairs. Now, I'm inviting the Dean of Agriculture Faculty, Dr. Ahmad Muslim, to deliver the welcoming remarks. Dr. Muslim, the time is yours.
Oke. Baik, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Rector of Sriwijaya University, represented by Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation, Professor Muhammad Said, PhD, Chairman and Secretary Executive of Rector for State University, West Region of Indonesia, or representative, Chairman of Dean Forum for Agricultural Science of State University, West Region of Indonesia, my friend from Professor Samadi, all Dean Faculty of Agriculture, State University, West Region of Indonesia. Here we see another Dean also present from SAC University, Faculty of Fisheries, Dr. Suryan Tunki Janukit, from Universitas Sriwijaya also, Dean of Faculty of Mathematics and Science, Dr. Hermansyah. Excellencies, all keynote speakers. Professor In P. Handayani, MSc, PhD from Murray State University, USA. Associate Professor Dr. Ganesan Padamalai from University Putra Malaysia. Professor Dr. Tairat Nanakam from Kasasat University, Thailand. Professor Philip Pratama, MSc, on PhD from our university, Universitas Sriwijaya, Indonesia. Dr. Glenn B. Georgia, Director of SERCA, Southeast Asia. Dr. Hewan Desianto B. Utomo, PhD, Chairman of Association of Animal Feed Company, GPMC Indonesia. Respective invite speaker, head of department, our distinguished guests, dear all participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, allow me to report our international conference, Sriwijaya Conference on Sustainable Environment, Agriculture and Farming System, we call SAC-SAFSE, held in Palembang on 29 September 2020 with the theme of Sustainable Agriculture for a Better Future. The objective of this conference are to bring together social and natural scientists and environmental activists to discuss results from ongoing research projects to find a way to enhance the exchange of knowledge among disciplines and to establish global partnership both in research and business. We also would like to underline that this conference would be an biennial agenda of our faculty, Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Sriwijaya. Actually, this international conference supposed to be held last year. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19 pandemic, it was postponed till today. There are 72 participants as keynote speakers, invite speaker, and presenter who are participating in this event. They are from United States of America, Japan, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, Germany, Sri Lanka, and our beloved country, Indonesia. This conference is also attended by Vice Rector, Dean, Head of Institution at our university, Head of Government and Private Institution, students and participants from Indonesia, from Thailand, Afghanistan, Philippines, and Malaysia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in this opportunity, I would like to express my profound gratitude and appreciate to all keynote speakers, invite speakers, and all presenters to your valuable and meaningful contribution to this conference, in particular from United States of America, Japan, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, Germany, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, and of course from Indonesia itself. You are very, very important person. Without you present here, this conference is nothing. So thank you very much. I would like also to express my thanks and highly appreciate it to the organizing committee of this conference, in particular, Bapak Herpandi PhD as the chairman, and all staff members from Faculty of Agriculture who are organized, prepared, and work hard, and has dedicated their valuable time to organize this prestigious international conference. Even though we are so worried to face a big obstacle due to pandemic COVID-19 condition. We also express to our sincere gratitude to our sponsor, in particular from Rector Forum State University, West Region Indonesia, and also Bank Negara Indonesia. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I believe and feel confident that this conference will stimulate a discussion and share our new ideas and experience about various topics related to sustainable environment, agriculture, and farming system. And hopefully this conference will result many excellent ideas how to create our life is better and better in the future, and produce many papers published in international journals. I encourage all participants to participate actively in this conference, and of course, to establish all participant global partner for future collaboration. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all an enjoyable time and success during this conference, and good health. Protect our health from coronavirus infection. Finally, we ask for our rector, Professor Anis Sagaf, represented by Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation, Professor Muhammad Said, to give his speech and to open officially this international conference. I think that's all. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Muslim, for the remarks. Coming up next is the remarks from the Chairman for Agriculture Science of BKS-PPN West Region of Indonesia, Professor Dr. Insinyur Samadi MSc. The stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the MC on my time now. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, on behalf of the Agriculture, Dean of Agriculture Faculty State University in Western part of Indonesia, we would like to thank you very much for the Faculty of Agriculture, Sriwijaya University, to facilitate also the host of our annual Dean meeting and conjugation with this International Conference on Sustainable Agriculture, Farming System and Environment. In this very good opportunity, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to the Rector of Sriwijaya University, and this time is represented by Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation, Professor Muhammad Said, and also our friends, that is the Dean of Agriculture Faculty, Sriwijaya University, Dr. Insinyur Muslim M. Agriculture, and also all my colleagues, Dean and Vice Dean from the Agriculture Faculty State University in Western part of Indonesia. And right now we have the member about 13 faculties involved for our organizations that attend. Some of them attend directly in Palembang, and some of them maybe could not join with us today in Palembang. Maybe they follow our activities today by the virtual. And also our keynote speaker for this conference, this is Professor Utaritna Narkon, is from Kasetsart University in Thailand, and Associate Professor Dr. Ganesan Padamala is from University Putra, Malaysia, and also Professor Lin P. Handayani, MSc PhD from Urai State University in USA, and Professor Insinyur Philip Pratama is from Sriwijaya University. Dr. Glenn B. Georgia is Director of SIARCA, and Dr. Hewan Desianto B. Utama PhD as Vice President Feed Technology Charon Pokpan Indonesia. And also the chairman for this conference, Arpandi Nafis Gumai PhD. And of course, all the participants, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, they join for this international conference, either offline or virtual meeting. If we talk about our organizations that we call the Dean of Agriculture Faculty State University Western part of Indonesia, and we also call that BKSPTN. Sriwijaya University is the place where our organization is established at the time. It was established in 19 February 1979. It is almost 45 years. At the time, there are about 11 universities involved to establish about this organization. But right now, this organization has developed, and there are 35 universities, and with the 10 field of study, including the agriculture. So this moment is very good. We come to Palembang, is in place in which our organization was established and the first time. So I remember that I come from the Sriwijaya University. When I student and the graduate student there are many lecturers from our university come to Palembang to take English training before they go abroad for their study. So this is this very good time for me also to look. This is also for the first time for me to visit Palembang. And thank you very much all for the organization. They already conduct this activity for this time, even though we know that the situation is right now is very hard with the COVID-19. But we try to come here to join together almost 1.5 years. We cannot visit anymore. Also, this is the first time also for me to go out from Banda Aceh. This is historical for me. Also, with the issue of the seminar about the sustainable agriculture, I think this is a very important topic. As we know that United States is under Sustainable Development Goals, they have 17 indicators and also 170 targets. In 2030, they want to reduce the poverty in the world, and also they protect the environment, and also food security. As we know that food security is our responsible from the agriculture. So if we talk about the sustainability involves for three things: social sustainability, environmental sustainability, and also economic sustainability. And with this topic, we hope that it can produce recommendation that we can apply to improve our sustainability in agriculture. As we know that the population in the world right now is 7 billion. In the next 2030, it will be 9 million. So this is our responsibility, how we can sustain our food production to get the food security in the world is sustained. And also, as we know that not only for international conference, especially for the dean that come here, also they can also join with the virtual conference. We will discuss how to improve our academic quality. As we know that with the new system of independent campus and independent learning, as we know the name is MBKM, there are a lot of strategy that we have to discuss. How, like for example, the exchange student, we don't have get a fixed regulation. Right now, we think it's easy because we can conduct the activity is by online system. If the normal system, the exchange student, our student maybe from the Sriwijaya University will come to IPB, and we have to make some regulation about like how the accommodation to HNP, and I think it's many things that we can discuss. Maybe also we can discuss about the international accreditations. Also about the independent accreditation. This is the issue maybe that we can discuss in the afternoon, especially for the dean, that we can get a good conclusion how to conduct this activity, especially with the new system of independent campus and independent learning. Finally, one more thank for Sriwijaya University as the host for our meeting. Hopefully, this annual meeting and also international conference will be success and can give a very good recommendation to improve our academic quality and also for sustainable agriculture. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Professor. Next, we are very pleased to have Professor Muhammad Said as the Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation, Universitas Sriwijaya, to deliver the opening speech and to officially declare the official opening of Sriwijaya Conference on Sustainable Environment, Agriculture and Farming System straight afterward. Professor Muhammad Said, the stage is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Honorable keynote speakers, Professor Utairat Nanarkom from Kasetsat University, Thailand, Associate Professor Dr. Ganesan Padamalai from University Putra, Malaysia, Professor Lin P. Handayani, MSc, PhD, Borai State University, USA, Dr. Glenn B. Gregorio, Director of SAC-SAFSE, Professor Insinyur Philip Pratama, Master of Science, Hans, PhD, University Sriwijaya, Indonesia, Dr. Desianto B. Utomo, PhD, Vice President FIT Technology, Chaudhry Fund, Indonesia, CPI, Chairman of the Association of Animal Feed Companies, UPMT. Also, Honorable Dean of Agriculture, University Sriwijaya, Dr. Muslim, Head of BKSPTN, West Region of Indonesia, Professor Dr. Engineer Samadi, Master of Science, and also Rector of University Sriwijaya, Professor Dr. Engineer Anis Agab, MSc, IPU. First of all, I would like to say thanks to God that today we can be together in the pandemic situation in carrying the Sriwijaya Conference on Sustainable Environment, Agriculture and Farming System. This conference is held in the virtual conference via Zoom with the title Sustainable Agriculture, Farming and Environment. Ladies and gentlemen, also for all the participants today, the organizing committee that supported from the KSPTN West Region of Indonesia and Agriculture Science, co-organizer, SAC-SAFSE University Thailand, and Murray State University USA, CMU Sercha, and also all of the presenters, all the participants from 9 countries, United States, Germany, Japan, Philippines, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia. And it is very honorable that Sriwijaya University, with cooperation as parties, conducted this conference. And this is very, I think, very useful conference, even though our situation right now in the pandemic condition. It is very true that the main things that we have also as the academic, even though as the practice from industry, that we should promote the sustainable development goals as mentioned by head of the KSPTN. I think it is very clear that right now 3 security that we have conducted: water, food, and energy security. Otherwise, without this, and it is difficult for us to run the next life means for the next generation. And also in some topics, I also in the sub-theme in the conference is very the relation is very constant with this with the sustainable development. Yeah, because right now in the production for the green product is like for example is crude palm oil is not accepted if you want to export to other countries without cleaner production or green products label. And also the green fuel. Yeah. Green fuel is fuel developed from the renewable resources, like oil, like vegetable oils, and also green energy systems. In some research area, this kind of research topic developed in order to gain new methodology, new research system, and new technology. Yeah, because the issues for the environmental damage, like in the soil, land, water, and air, and also the chemical uses in agriculture, also deforestation, become the main issues that should be overcome in the future. And we hope that this seminar not only can publish in some papers in the accredited journal, but also the product can produce as applicable products and technology. And also, as mentioned earlier, that in the MBKM system, that I think this kind of seminar, we can exchange experiences in the research and make some cooperation, research cooperation, joint publication is also carried out. And also we can build some business relationship and in order to find global partners for future collaboration. And finally, we thank very much for the keynote speech and also the organizing committee, steering committee that conduct these seminars, and we hope that this seminar can be we can make some good seminar today. And I mentioned Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the seminar is officially opened. Thank you very much. Billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Said, for the wonderful remarks and for officially opening this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, to picture some memories of this event, I would like to invite all speakers and participants to turn on the camera and have our picture taken together for the documentation. This event will be led by the committee. Okay, now we're taking the picture of slide 1. Ready? 1, 2, 3. How many slides is it? 6. Okay, for slide 2. And slide 3. Next, for slide 4. Slide 5. And the last one. Thank you very much for all presenters who already turned on their camera. I have important announcement for all non-presenting participants. Please register to the conference account because the certificate will be only given to those who are registered. So please pay attention and register to your conference account. All right, now without further ado, we are proceeding to the main agenda, which is the presentation by our keynote speakers. Joining us today are high qualified and competent speakers in their respective fields. For the plenary session 1, we already have Professor Iin P. Handayani from Murray State University, USA, Associate Professor Dr. Ganesan Padamalai from University Putra Malaysia, and also Professor Utai Ratnana Korn from Kasetsart University. To lead this event, I would like to invite Dr. Insinyur Yulia Pujiastuti MS to act as the moderator. Dr. Yulia, the time is yours.
Ibu Yulia masih mute, host.
Sorry. Okay, thank you, MC. Bapak Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, selamat pagi, sawadika, good morning. Welcome to the first session of Sriwijaya Conference on Sustainable Agriculture, Farming System and Environment 2020. The topic carried out in this conference is honored to be a moderator in this position. My name is Yulia Puji Astuti. I belong to the Department of Plant Protection, Faculty of Agriculture, Sriwijaya University. In this position is a plenary session, and there will be 3 topics of discussion. The first topic is about fisheries and technology, and will be delivered by Professor Dr. Uttaira Nanakor from Kasetsart University, Thailand. Good morning, Professor Uttaira.
Good morning.
Okay, thank you.
I'm ready.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Topic is
So,
about, okay, second topic is about agricultural environment and will be delivered by Associate Professor Dr. Ganesan Padamalai from University Putra Malaysia, Malaysia. Good morning, selamat pagi, Dr. Ganesan.
Selamat pagi, good morning, Prof. Yulia.
Okay, thank you. And the third topic is sustainable environment and agriculture, and will be delivered by Professor Iin P. Handayani, MSc, PhD, from Hudson School of Agriculture, Murray State University, Kentucky, USA. Selamat pagi, good morning, Prof. Iin.
selamat pagi, good morning.
Selamat malam. Actually, in America, now it's night.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all the participants, before keynote speakers deliver their speech, I would like to convey the role of this session. We will have time for discussion after all 3 experts deliver their presentation. So please prepare your question and kindly asking to who you will address your question. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to the first speaker, Professor Dr. Uttaira Nanakor from Kasetsart University, Thailand. She will share her extraordinary experiences in a 20 minutes of speech entitled Genetic Improvement and Biotechnology for Sustainable Aquaculture, a case study in Clarias catfish. Before she gives a speech, let me read her curriculum vitae briefly. She was born in Thai and got her PhD degree in 1998 from Ehime University, Japan. She belongs to the Department of Aquaculture, Faculty of Fisheries, Kasetsart University, Bangkok, Thailand. Field of specialization, genetics in aquaculture, fish breeding. Current research, genetic and biotechnology for enhancement of aquaculture production and genetic improvement of snake skin gurami. She received 19 grants, this is international and national grants, 16 awards and recognition. Her experiences as invited speakers is 19 types and 12 opportunities as a consultant. She also very productive in publication. Here we can see a book, 78 international scientific papers, 13 national scientific papers, and 14 articles in proceeding, and also 11 reviewed articles. Okay, Professor Uttaira, now time is yours. Time for your delivering presentation is 20 minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. So may I first share screen first?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, very
Okay.
clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. So first of all, I would like to congratulate the organizing committee for being able to organize this kind of meeting, second in the series already, even though I mean the pandemic is quite a big obstruction. So my talk today, I will share you my experience working with Clarius catfish to use the biotechnology and genetic improvement for sustainable aquaculture of this species. So in my talk, I will refer to biotechnology in a broad term, in a broad meaning, which is the use of living systems and organisms to develop or make products. And under this definition, aquaculture is already biotechnology. On the genetic improvement side, hold on a minute. Okay, on the genetic improvement side, we can explain in the broad sense, like it is, there are approaches to improve animals' performance by changing their genetics. So it means what we have made change to them will be transferred to their offspring. Actually, the approach that we use comprised of both the conventional things like this and also the advanced biotechnology like gene transfer. But I would like to emphasize that up until now, selection is the main approach for genetic improvement in aquatic animals. For biotechnology itself, it helps aquaculture a lot but for the induced breeding, we use hormone, or we use hormone for sex reversal, sperm cryopreservation, probiotics, prebiotics, or using the enzyme to help feed digestion. On the selection side, genetic improvement side, we can improve growth of fish and improve the others. And mainly, as I told you, we use the approach, the selection and crossbreeding approach. Genetic engineering also was proven successful, but it's not widely accepted. And this is the recent success using biotechnology, using the gene editing technology to make this Red Sea bream with more muscle. I myself, I think I may not want to eat this one. They don't look normal. For the Clarius catfish, is a very big group of catfish. In the family, there are altogether 61 species around the world, distributed in Africa and also in Asia. I am interested in this species very much because it has advantage. For example, it has high tolerance to poor water quality and crowding. You can see these pictures. They were from the mountaintop of Thailand, cultured by ethnic people. Thai government even convinced them to culture their own fish up on the mountain using very small amount of water to have their own protein source. The cultured species mainly comprise of African catfish, this one, and the country that produce a lot is Nigeria. The second runner-up is Thailand, who culture hybrid between our native bighead catfish and the African catfish. So why Thailand culture hybrid? It was because actually Thai people, we like the bighead catfish, but the growth of this species is very slow. And another problem is it is very susceptible to disease. So once when the African catfish was introduced into the country around 20 years ago, this species is very impressive. It has high growth, resistant to disease, but unfortunately Thai people do not like the meat. So once we made hybridization, we got a hybrid with improved growth over the bighead catfish, moderate resistance over the bighead catfish, and the meat quality is acceptable, means it's a bit better than the African catfish. But anyway, at the moment, we are facing problem. The African catfish have a slow growth rate, and also the reproductive performance is not as good as when they first came to Thailand. The hybrid also reduced overall performance. So this is our concern, especially me, who has been working in Clarius for all my career. So fortunately, in 2016, I got a grant under Distinguished Professor Award. The money was not that much, things like 11 million baht. So I allocate most of the money to work on to solve the problem in Clarius. And the small amount I allocated to snake skin gourmet. So in this talk, I would cover only the Clarius catfish. So our goal actually is to enhance growth and disease resistance of these catfish using two approaches: genetic improvement and using biotechnology for enhancement of immunity. On the genetic improvement side, I established a selection program to improve growth and disease resistance in the bighead catfish, our native species. We also did the genome-wide association study. This one not yet completely finished, so I will not cover in this talk. And for African catfish, I also conduct a selection program to improve growth, and also we study the reproductive traits. For biotechnology, the short-term goal was using probiotics to help enhance immunity and also enhance growth. And also we aim for the long term by studying the immune response genes. So this one gave very good result, very interesting. You can find, if you are interested, you can find in the publication. When we want to improve the fish using the selection approach, the first thing that we have to do is to establish a base population with genetically diverse background. So usually people will start with collecting genetically different populations and then bred together. So what we'll get will be the population with high variation of phenotype. In this case, it got high variation of body size, but actually this variation is comprised of 3 compartments. The first one, which is the most important, is the additive genetic effect. This one is important because it can be transmitted from parent to the offspring. It is a property of each allele. So when parents gave each allele to the offspring and each allele meet together and form a genotype, they will behave in additive way. So if you have good parent, male are good, female are good, you will get better, improved offspring. On the contrary, this kind of the trait that is under dominant genetic variants, it would behave differently. Even though you have good father, good mother, but those the things that parent will transfer to offspring will be allele, not genotype. So when the alleles met in the offspring and form a new genotype, they will behave differently. They may be better, they may be worse. Okay, so this is why we pay attention to these genetic variants. And we measure these genetic variants by this parameter, which is called heritability, which is a proportion of the additive genetic variants to the whole phenotypic proportion. So if we get this moderate or high value of heritability, it is we will be confident that our selection program would be effective. So I started my project following this step. So first, I collect genetic diverse populations. Since we have limited time, limited money, we could not find a wide population from Africa. So what I took farm population from Thailand. And since we just do not know which are different, which ones are different, so we use the genetic marker to identify each population. And among the likely genetically diverse populations that we collect, we found this one, and one of these are different. So I took this one, and this one, and bred them together to form a base population with diverse genetic background. We create families, something like 170 families, and then we rear separately in this harbor. And when they grow up to a certain size that can be tagged, we tag with elastoma, die, and then communally rear in this big pond. At 138 days old, which is the harvest age, we made a measurement. Interestingly, we found that each family had different, significantly different mean in body weight. So it's a good sign. And we even found that the heritability of body weight is about 0.35. So what does it mean? It means what we are seeing, or we have seen, the variation here comprised of, was caused by 35% of the additive genetic variants. So it means if we perform the selection carefully, we will get a good response. So we perform the selection using what we call the EBV. EBV is like genetic value. Instead of using the mean of each family, we use the complicated calculation and pull out, take out all the environmental effect, leave only the genetic effect. So we took EBV of each family, and then we ranked and took 15 top family to use as the brooder. And when they reach maturity, we bred them. We also kept the control population without selection, and then we compare these two populations. And we found that, as expected, the selected population has higher body weight when compared to the control. And this is significantly different. And the selection response is 10.37%, which is acceptable. For the big head catfish, I tried to do the same, but I was very unfortunate that before the project start, the populations that I collect to use as to combine, use as the base population, they all died. So only one population left. This population is actually not so bad because I had performed mass selection for growth for 5 generations already. But the problem is that the genetic background might be too low. So anyway, I have no choice. So I did the same thing, create different families. This one I got only around 77 families reared separately and then tagged communally reared. For the big head catfish, we also measure the disease resistance. So hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you still have 5 minutes.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear? Seems like I could not hear you well.
Oh, okay. You still have 5 minutes for your presentation.
5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought I have 30 minutes for our presentation.
20 minutes, actually, 20 minutes.
Okay. So I will go really fast. So then we measure the disease resistance and we perform the selection. But eventually, as I worry, we don't find selection response. Okay, but anyway, the response or disease resistance is under investigation. Okay, so since I don't have time, I will skip this one, which actually is very interesting. No problem, just skip. I go straight to probiotics. So in this sub-project, Dr. Papansak and his student collect bacteria from big head catfish and pond environment, and they found that a strain from mucus show probiotic potential. So actually, this bacteria is quite unique. It is in this genus, but it's not the same with the species that already identified. So we try to kind of claim that this is the new species. We did a whole genome sequence. But anyway, finally, the world authorities said we cannot consider this new species. Okay, so we study the application route of this probiotic to induce the humoral and innate immune response. And we found that the one that we put in water show the best result. Okay, I will go very fast. Same thing. For survival rate after disease challenge, we found that the one that we apply in the water show the best result. We also study histological change of gill and intestine tissue. And at this step, we had applied this probiotic in the field and in the farm, 4 farms. So we found the same result, that survival rate of the one got probiotic after disease challenge is always higher than the control in most of the farm except this one. And body weight also was higher than in the one got probiotic. So at the moment we are in the step to negotiate with the private company, the Betaco company, to have the technology transfer. They want to produce the probiotic in the commercial scale. And beside that, we also publish papers. Okay, my last slide. I have to take home messages for both the researcher and funding agency that biotechnology and genetic improvement has very high potential in solving aquaculture problems. But you have to put sufficient and continuing funding and also research effort. And research should be conducted in collaboration with end user, with a goal to transfer technology to private sectors. So before ending my talk, I would like to thank the funding agency and also my colleague for their hard working. And thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Professor Utaira. Thank you for your excellent sharing about biotechnology or sustainable aquaculture. We believe that valuable information could encourage academic community and students to improve sustainable aquaculture. Thank you. Okay, so I will remind to our participants who will ask a question, please kindly write to the chat box, or you can directly asking to Professor Utairat later after finishing all presentation in this session. Now we welcome to the second speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Ganesan Padamalai from University Putra Malaysia, with the paper entitled Sustainable Crop Pest and Disease Management. So before Dr. Ganesan delivered his speech, let me read his curriculum vitae briefly. Dr. Ganesan Padamalai is an associate professor in University Putra Malaysia. He belongs to the Department Plant Protection, Faculty of Agriculture, UPM Serdang, Selangor, Malaysia. And he is the head of this department from 2016 until 2019. He got PhD degree in Australia. His expertise in plant pathology, especially in plant virology. Current research topics are detection and management of coconut cadang-cadang variant in palms, diagnosis and epidemiology of plant virus and viroid disease, and diagnosis and characterization of phytoplasm as well. Dr. Ganesan has graduated several PhD and master programs. He also very productive in publication with 60 journals and 5 books. So we welcome to Ganesan. Time for your delivering presentation is 20 minutes. So Dr. Ganesan.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Yulia, for the wonderful introduction. And selamat pagi and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I think before I start, probably I'll share the screen first. Okay, so I hope everybody can view the slides. Huh?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So first of all, I would like to wish. I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me this opportunity to have a discussion on the topic given to me, which is sustainable crop pest and disease management, which is a subset of sustainable agriculture. So in this talk, I will highlight 2 sustainable pest management concepts that is being adapted at present, which is the integrated pest management agriculture and the current latest one, which is the agroecological crop protection. We were just talking about what are the important salient points of these 2 management practices, and what are the important and the difference between these 2 and the way forward, the challenges and the way forward from this. So basically, pest management in agricultural crops is essential to ensure good productivity. The losses in crop yield due to pest and pathogen infections range between 20% to 40% annually. And each year, plant diseases cost the global economy around $220 billion, and insect pests around $70 billion just to manage this problem. And bulk of it is being used on chemicals, agrochemicals, to control these pathogens and pests. The intensification of agriculture to address the growing pressure from climate change, and especially population growth, the ever-increasing population growth, and also global trade, places a lot of increasing demands on the future of our crop production and crop protection specifically. Okay, thus efficient and sustainable plant protection is of great economic and ecological significance. So if you look at the progression of pest management, agrochemical or pesticide has been the cornerstone of pest management for decades. Okay, since the discovery of pesticides, pest management was high reliance on pesticides and low on natural solutions. So because using chemicals, you can see the effects very fast. It's rapid and effective. Although we know the consequences it has on the on generally negative impacts such as toxicity, pest resistance against pesticides, soil, water, air pollution, hazards to humans, and also loss in biodiversity, okay, which is a very key thing right now when we are talking about sustainability. Okay, so a more total system management was needed with low reliance on pesticides and more on natural solutions. Okay, and with the progression of sustainable agriculture and research and development, agrochemicals were slowly substituted or replaced by biopesticides, okay, green technology, and promoting natural enemies and biocontrol agents, and adopting cultural practices such as crop rotation, intercropping, and so on, and placing chemical pesticides as the last resort of control measure. Okay, and this thinking was put into a concept and termed integrated pest management, IPM. I think those who are involved in pest management, crop pest management, we are very familiar with this term. This is introduced in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s. IPM is an ecosystem approach to crop protection, crop production and protection that combines different management strategies, the mix of many different control measures and practices to grow healthy crops and minimize the use of pesticides. Okay, and IPM consists of 8 principles, where the first approach to controlling pests is based on prevention and suppression. So it's more of a preventive act and focusing on actually building a resilient crop and farm that is capable of withstanding pest infestation. So we are just suppressing and preventing and not taking curative action in the first place itself. So pest, and in IPM, pest monitoring, risk analysis monitoring is consistently done to decide whether and when to apply plant protection measures, if at all it is needed. Okay, so the goal is to suppress pests, but to keep it down to an economic threshold that doesn't need intervention. Okay, so but if we need an intervention to be made, then the choices, the non-chemical methods are preferred options, such as cultural, physical, or biological control is preferred rather than going to chemical. Only when these methods have been exhausted, the pest problem still persists, farmers should consider using selective, if possible, low toxicity chemical pesticide. That's why you see chemical pesticide sits on the top of the IPM pyramid. So that would be the last resort. But over the time, things have changed. Okay, although IPM still remains the leading paradigm in crop protection with many successful pest intervention, but there is a significant gap between the traditional principles of IPM and the current situation. If you look at IPM approaches, they are more centered on monitoring, establishing thresholds, and treat the symptoms approach rather than addressing the fundamental questions of why an organism can be a pest or why a pest is being a pest. Okay, so taking into ecological consideration. Okay, because as we see now, even though chemical is the last resort in IPM, but majority of cases still apply chemical control, chemical pesticides is still heavily relied upon chemical control. Okay, So farmers still prefers the chemical option. So that's why more attention is given to monitoring and establishing thresholds and so on. Okay, and also IPM should be an integration of control strategies. But now it's rather more like a juxtaposition of different crop protection techniques. That means that we are using different techniques. Okay, technique A works, physical doesn't work, then we apply biological. So it's like a mix and match, not an integrated approach. And less emphasis on understanding and promoting inherent strengths within the system, which is the ecological dynamics. Okay, so although we see a lot of, there is a trend moving away from chemical, but a mere switch to non-toxic pesticides such as microbials or releases of natural enemies, biocontrol, although helpful in reducing the environmental contamination and safety problems, but it still doesn't address the ecological based weaknesses of current pest management approach in order to achieve sustainability in plant protection. So then what would represent a meaningful fundamental shift in our pest management strategy? Do we need a new direction, or do we still adopt IPM and try to improve in such a way that it adheres to the sustainable goals? If there is a shift, what would be the components of such a strategy, and how do we crystallize this into an effective and lasting pest management systems or program with the aim? With the goal is still to suppress pest population into an acceptable level and not eliminating them. So the goal here is not to completely eliminate the pests, but to suppress to a level that don't need, that it does not affect the economic outcome of the farming systems. And with all taking into account the shortcomings of IPM and so on, there is an aim right now to develop cropping systems that can function without high inputs. Even IPM, there is a certain success rate, but it still depends on external inputs like chemicals, even biological control is being brought from outside the farm. Okay, but now the goal is to look at whether we can do this within the farm without external or without high inputs. This is where the concept of agroecological crop protection was elaborated and discussed. Okay, agroecological and APC is an agroecological and spatio-temporal management of plant and animal communities within a farming system. It is a crossroad between agroecology and crop protection. Here, redesigning of cropping systems. So the farming system is designed to such a way to create an environment that is favorable for natural enemies. And here, absolute priority is given to preventive measures within a redesigned agrosystem framework. An ACP focuses cropping system that has been designed with biodiversity and soil health as the two most important goals in order to make the agrosystem less susceptible to biotic stresses. So if the biodiversity of the farm system and the soil is functioning healthily, the plant that grows, crops that grows in the farming system naturally tend to be healthy. And if they are healthy, they will naturally tend to suppress or evade plant pests and disease and pathogens. And so for the farmer, using this system, the farmer does not have to add any inputs to the system. For instance, by adding flowering plants within the field, biodiversity increases, and these flowers might be able to provide food for natural enemies such as parasitoid wasp, which can control outbreaks of crop pests without requiring chemical sprays, substantially reducing the use of pesticides. So the mere strengthening and balancing of the functions of the agroecosystem dynamics will eventually let the crops thrive in a more balanced system, which will naturally evade or push away the pest. This is the aim of the ACP model. So if we look at the model described here, the focus is on designing a cropping system that looks at the interaction between pests, microclimate, plant populations, including the service plants, not only your crops, all the plants, weeds, everything, soil, microbes, also the nutritional state of the soil, and so on. So by looking at the interaction of these elements and taking into account the climate change and the landscape, farm landscape, the natural habitants around the farming, and coming up with a system that fulfills the social and environmental and economic performance, which is the goal of the sustainable agriculture. And if this can be done, it can influence the farmer perception and acceptance to the model that being proposed. Of course, this is easier said and done. Okay, it takes it's not a short-term fix; it's a long-term commitment. But the key thing here, you see, in APC, they look at the farming interaction as a key thing for the success of pest control or pest management, rather than IPM. IPM is more focused on controlling pests, so it's a pest-centered approach. IPM. ACP is focusing on building a resourceful and resilient farms, which can protect themselves from the pest. So if you look at previous report in the last 2 decades, IPM places more importance on the synthetic and external inputs, okay, compared to APC, which focus on redesigning the system. And if at all you need to use input, you use in-farm inputs, okay. And if you look at the observation on the contribution to the ecological services, IPM tend to focus on pest and disease regulation and plant biomass production, which is the crop production element of the ecosystem. Okay, but APC seems to give equal concentration to all the ecosystem systems, such as water quality, biodiversity, pollination, climate change, all these being taken into account. So it's sort of like a holistic approach, in the sense that by strengthening your farm, it will naturally protect themselves from the pests, because you are inculcating the natural enemies and all that in your farming system itself. Okay, so in this way, less input comes in. So ACP, does attempt to lower the chemical inputs. Now, if you all their biocontrol element, natural elements is inside the farm, then you don't need external input. So this is the goal of ACP. And ACP, the broad and integrative approach of ACP also allows to incorporate recent technology innovations such as biocontrol products, decision support tools, robotics, precision farming tools. All these can be used because it is all part of designing the cropping system to understand the microbe, soil, the flora and fauna, and so on. So ACP as a case study, there are a few success stories because it's sort of like introduced the last 2 decades. If you look at the pioneering experiments took place in cotton cultivation in Africa between 1990 and 2000, and they successfully eliminated aphid population in the cotton. This is all based on smallholders, and completely eliminated foliar applications of insecticides by using a combination of intercropping and crops that support the natural enemy populations. Okay, and there are several success stories in fruit fly management and so on, but the more recent one, there's still studies being done, is on the management of fall armyworm, which is an important pest in this region, and it caused a lot of damages in maize crops around this region. So studies on individual smallholder farms.
May I remind you, time is still 5 minutes.
Yes, I'm almost done. Thank you. So biomass mulching, intercropping, cover crops, diversifying the farm environment through crop rotation, all these are found to be effective in bringing down the fall armyworm, density. Okay, but then these are all adapted in individual farms. So what they need to do is come up with the farm design taking into all these features and see how it can be worked out in a larger scale. Okay, so although APC, although there is a relative success of IPM and APC as a sustainable approach to PND management, but transitioning from agrochemical crop protection to ACP, especially ACP, is still a challenge, as chemical control as a first resort is still common in vast majority of farms around the world. Incorporation of new innovative technology based on methods such as omics and precision agriculture tools into ACP, especially smallholders, is still a challenge, and a lot of convincing and awareness need to be made to the farmers. Thus, communication and evidence-based pest control advice, and also establishing the market chains, especially the market chains need to support the agroecological options, is also important. So ACP may sound unnaturally optimistic and futuristic, but like I said, it's a long haul, but at least it gives a framework for further improvements in agriculture in order to achieve its sustainability objective. So to summarize, developing farming practices that are compatible with ecological systems and designing cropping systems that naturally limit the elevation of organism to pest status is critical for sustainable pest and disease management of crops. It's not about using chemicals or using available methods. It's how we integrate all this to naturally limit the organism to achieve its pest status. So this is the key to success for sustainable P&D management in the future. So it requires a joint effort among stakeholders such as advisors, growers, experts, authorities, and researchers to come up with scientifically based evidence that could convince the users to limit economically unjustified pesticide treatments. Whatever it is, the ultimate priority are the long-term conservation of ecosystem and its services, and also people's well-being. Okay, so these are the reference used. Thank you very much. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ganeshan. This very interesting about IPM and ACP, yeah, in sustainable crop pest and disease management. So we believe that valuable information could encourage academic community and students to improve sustainable agriculture. Thank you. So now we will welcome to the third speaker. We cordially invite Professor Iin Handayani from Hudson School of Agriculture, Florida State University, Kentucky, USA. Okay, before Professor Iin deliver her speech, so let me read her CV briefly. Dr. Iin Handayani is a professor in the Hudson School of Agriculture, Florida University, USA. She earned a PhD with research specialty in soil ecology from University of Kentucky. She finished her master's degree in soil management from University of Arkansas, Fayetteville, and her bachelor degree in agriculture from Gajah Mada University in Indonesia. She received prestigious professional awards such as the Best Professor Superlative in Kentucky, USA, Fulbright Senior Scientist, the Best Researcher and Distinguished Professor in Indonesia. Recently, her research interests are mostly on soil quality or soil health, soil carbon sequestration, urban soils, land restoration, and climate-smart agriculture related to adaptive land management systems. She has been a successful scientist, professor, speaker, and consultant for national and international organizations related to agriculture and higher education, assisting both government and non-government funding agencies. Okay, so Professor Iin Handayani will share her experiences in soil science research entitled Managing Soil Health for Land Productivity and Sustainability in the Professor Iin, now time is yours.
Okay. Good morning, selamat pagi.
Okay, good morning, Prof.
Thank you, Dr. Yulia Pujiastuti, for the introduction, and thank you for the host, Sriwijaya University, for inviting me. And also, I like to say it is an honor for me to share my presentation for all of you. I hope all of us will learn each other. And let me share my screen here. Okay, is my voice okay? Okay, well, just like Dr. Ganesan before, he talked about how to make our plants healthy. And today I would like to share with you how to make our soil healthy, because the plants cannot be healthy if the soil is not healthy. So today I would like to share how to manage soil health for land productivity and sustainability in the tropics. Okay, and as you know that with the population in 2050 about 10 billion, that we need to improve our food production about 60 to 70%. And unfortunately, the most limiting factor we have actually is the soil or the earth where we grow our crops or our plants. Therefore, I like to focus on the most limiting factors as the law of limiting factor that actually our crop production can be improved if we kind of make sure our limiting factor can be taken care. When we talk about soil in this case, I would like to kind of open your mind that the impact of soil is like a ripple effect here, just like when we drop the water and then all the surrounding will kind of shaking and also get the influence from the water. So this is kind of the impact of soil on the plants, on the environment, on the air, on the water. So I would like to focus on the tropical soil, especially you can see that the tropical soil is kind of, the color is a little bit lighter compared to temperate area. And when we change our soil, make it better, then environmental quality will be better and we will have more sustainable agriculture. So right now, soil health is a global issue actually, because remember, there is no healthy food or healthy plants without healthy soil. So we have no choice, even though people say that, hey, we can grow plants in hydroponic, in water, but still everyone in the world needs soil to provide our food. So when we talk about soil health, actually it's related to soil conservation, because we need to maintain our environment in order to be healthy. And also we like to have sustainability in production and food supply. And in economic, we need to have viable farming industry. So a sustainable agriculture itself doesn't deplete soil or people. So in this case, again, I like to focus the role of soil. And unfortunately, in tropical area, most of our soil are old soil, aging soil. So because the weathering is so intensive, therefore you can see here, most of the soil order, ultisol and oxisol, and both of them are old soil. Even the oldest soil order is oxisol, unfortunately. And in Sumatra, we have that kind of soil a lot, and also in Borneo, in most Indonesian or Southeast Asia. And we can see here that in Indonesia, we have so many different soil order, but mostly until now is kind of depleted soil fertility. In addition, we have a lot of deforested area here, and mostly about 32% is kind of open land and under commercial agriculture, and about 34% actually is subsistence agriculture. So the farmers face on the reality that our soil right now compared to 50 years ago or 30 years ago is kind of depleted in soil nutrients. So if we eat carrots, for example, our grandma eat carrots 30 years ago compared to right now, and we grow the carrot in the same soil, the nutrition is totally different, especially in the quality and quantity. And when we talk about soil quality, actually, there are three classes: aggrading, sustaining, and degrading. Unfortunately, it's degrading. You can see in the right side, in Southeast Asia, especially Indonesia, most of the color is kind of reddish, orange, yellow. It means the level of erosion is high. In addition, from 2017 to 2020, actually, we have a lot of agriculture activity that depleted our soil. So agricultural practices that we use actually kind of reduce the quality of soil, physical, chemical, and biology. And it's so in this map also that in our place here in Indonesia, we have like very degraded soil because it's really brown, the color, and then the light brown is degraded soil. We haven't seen the stable soil yet. And as you know, if we have lower soil quality, and it will cause also effect on the atmospheric condition and also the pattern of climates. In addition, it's proof that in Indonesia, the greenhouse gas emissions are on the rise. You can see here in the graph here that is increased from 2020 to 2030 dramatically. And this is because one of the cause is the agricultural activities. And then there are a lot of cause because of the COVID-19 too, that we have kind of need more food, and then our agriculture cause different effect on our soils and also our plants. And in addition to that, when we talk about soil, actually it's not just for food production or land productivity, but it's related to sustainable development goal, which is brought back by United Nations. And you can see here that there are 8 sustainable development goals that are related to soil quality or to soil itself. Even it will have the zero hunger, good health and well-being, and also clean water, and etc. and etc. And when we talk about soil quality, actually it's kind of in the era of 2000, okay? And before that, when I was in college, we still talk just soil fertility, actually. People just talk about soil fertility. And then we talk about soil quality after that in the era of 2000. But right now, we kind of focus on soil health as a friend or sister or brother of healthy plants, just like what Dr. Ganesan said before. And then when we talk about soil health, actually improve 3 things: physical, chemical, and biological, and have to be integrated. We cannot just kind of choose one of them or 2 of them, just have to be together. And what are the things that reduce soil health? Well, aggressive tillage, annual fallow, monocropping, annual crops, and then the use of too much inorganic fertilizer, excessive crop residue removal, and also using pesticide too much, and also herbicide too much. And what are the things that can promote soil health? So like no-till or conservation tillage, cover crops, diverse crop rotation, organic fertilizer, so combination with inorganic fertilizer, crop residue retention, IPM, just like what the previous presenter said, and also with control. And when we talk about soil health, people might think that, oh, this is just for agriculture. Actually, soil health related to human health, because you can see on the graph that soil health is the key points or a key foundation of sustainable agriculture related to plant and animal health, also have the health of the plants. But you can see soil health also provide ecosystem services and environmental health, for example, carbon sequestration, reducing greenhouse gases. Therefore, we can say that soil health actually is kind of equally important for human health also, because remember, we don't want to have polluted soil because we need soil to grow our crops. Therefore, I like to share with you the basic definition of soil health, which is the continued capacity of the soil to function as a vital living ecosystem that sustains plants, animal, and human. So it's not just a matter of soil fertility, but it's more than that. It's something that has meaning to our life. And soil health sometimes is used interchangeable with soil quality, but actually, in my opinion, soil health is a part of soil quality, because here the soil quality is the capacity of soil to function ecologically, but soil health is kind of more the continuation of the sustainability. And when we talk about soil health, actually, it's not just the focus for the producer, but also the focus on the society, because related to crop health, food quality, farm health, and ecosystem health. So it's kind of very, very fundamental things that we have to consider when we do farming for better future, our earth and also ourselves. And here we have to have like mindset here that we have soil threats in the left side, and then we have soil function, and we have the ecosystem service. So we have soil threats that happening every day in the tropics, not just in the tropics, also in the temperate area like erosion, soil organic matter decline, contamination, compaction, biodiversity loss, salinization, landslide, flooding. And here in soil function, we have to make sure that we have roots, we have good soil organisms, the good one. We have to have nutrient cycling, perfect nutrient cycling. We have a good decomposition. We need to make sure the biological population is good, and the water cycling is good, or organic matter cycling is good. And you can see that like erosion have kind of impact on the soil function, for example, reducing the elemental cycling, reduce the decomposition rate, and it will have impact on ecosystem services from biomass production to biodiversity to pest management and water quality and climate change or climate regulation. So this is how important is soil health for our life, not just for agriculture. And eventually, how we have to assess the soil health? Well, we have a lot of indicators, but we can choose, because not indicator can be like 100% weight on the soil health assessment. It depends on the goals of our farming system itself. So the indicators can be related to physical support, water relation, biodiversity and habitat, nutrient cycling, and filtering and resilience. And all of this kind of related to the ecological function of soil and can be related to other branches in agriculture. Like, for example, related to the IPM, related to plant protection, and then related to agronomy, related to agribusiness. So it's kind of broad meaning related to the assessment of soil health. And we actually, at this time, when we talk about soil health indicator, we focus on these variables or in these properties. So for example, physical condition will be book density, penetration resistance, aggregate stability, and water related to water properties, and chemical related to soil fertility and the presence of organic matter, and biological related to biodiversity, decomposition, and respiration of the living things in our soil, including earthworms. And now I'd like to kind of share some research highlights in the world related to how we use soil health indicator to show how sustainable or how healthy is our soil and plants. So this is the first thing that is very popular in the world. I don't know if you already see this one in the internet or in the news, that we use underwear. Okay, we use underwear and then we kind of bury it in the soil, and you can see the picture in the right side. Actually, there are farmers from United States that did the experiment using underwear to see if their soil are really healthy. The more degradable the underwear is, the more healthy the soil. And the left down, in the left side, the lady is a doctor, actually a physical doctor, and then she is a physician, and she even have a study how to relate healthy soil and healthy human being. And she did the experiment because she liked to know a good microorganism or the bad one to make it better, our life. And this one is in the news, it's very popular experiment here, and you might ask your student to do this experiment using different kind of material, not just underwear. And then here is plant residue. We have to concern about the amount of plant residue that we have in our soil to improve aggregate stability. You might wonder what is so important about aggregate stability. Well, this is an indicator of how sensitive or not sensitive the soil toward erosion. Remember, in tropical area, erosion is a big deal, especially in the slopey area. So here, if we have 15% of plant residue, that's not good, okay? The best one is more than 30% plant residue. That is the best thing that we have to make our healthy soil. And the right side actually is the experiment in the middle. You can see that the aggregate stability is very low. So there are a lot of sediment go away. So we might lose our topsoil. And then this one is soil aggregation, okay? And soil organic matter. You can see here, if we till the soil too much or too extensive, then we will have low soil aggregate that stay in our sieve. It means is bad because will be sensitive to erosion and also will influence the amount of soil organic matter that can be held by the soil. You can see if you have grassland, or you have pasture, or you can have like conservation tillage, you will have better aggregation and better soil organic matter, or we can say we have granular soil structure compared to compaction if we have conventional tilled corn in the left side.
Excuse me, Prof. Iin, you still have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So this one is another data that if we have no-till system, we have higher aggregate stability. It seems the soil is stronger structure. And then also another indicator that right now is very popular. So if you have the research related to this one, is kind of warranty can be published, is soil fractionation using different kind of sieves. And you can see in the right bottom picture that if you have till soil, then you will have kind of less soil fractionation or less aggregation than if you have no-till system or conservation tillage. And this one is the roles of microorganism, especially mycorrhiza. When you have mycorrhiza, this is kind of one indicator of soil health, that is better root density in the left side. And then the right side, there is a relationship between the presence of mycorrhiza and soil organic carbon pool. It means is more carbon sequestration, therefore is less climate change. And then this one is the indicator of healthy soil in terms of biodiversity. So you can see here, we have indicator like 1 spoon of soil, it has different kind of bacteria, fungi, and etc. And this one is based on the depth. And then soil compaction also, of course, we don't want to have soil compaction, because if we have soil compaction, it means we have degradable, kind of topsoil will be degraded and also more erosion. And then this one is the same also. But remember, when we talk about soil compaction, it depends on the soil texture, okay? And then soil organic matter also have influence on healthy plants. So this one is the proof that healthy soil usually have more topsoil thickness, and then by using crop rotation, it will improve the value or the amount of soil organic matter. And if you have conservation tillage and biochar application, you will increase soil organic carbon up to more than 10%. And monoculture, of course, is worse than crop rotation. And this one is another indicator that's very popular. And this is in general the one that's very popular at this time in the world about different kind of soil organic matter pools and also the score for healthy soil. And one function for several indicators. This is the unique thing about soil health, that one function, but we will have several indicators. This is opening for research in the future, especially in Indonesia or Southeast Asia. And this one is take-home message that we have to build soil health based management system for our cropping system and land production. So we will have perfect soil health to create healthy plants and also sustainability in the future. And thank you, because healthy soil is cornerstone of life and can help our agriculture more sustainable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Iin. Oh, yeah. Your excellent sharing about the health of soil, which means human healthy and also plant healthy. It's very interesting. So we believe that the valuable information could encourage the community and students to improve sustainable agriculture. Okay, now we are in the question and answer time. So, dear participant, you can click and raise your hand symbol, or you can write in the chat box. So please address the name of the presenter you will ask. Okay, may I see in the who raised your hand? Who will raise their hand? We wait for your question. So we have we still wait. We have three speakers here. First is Professor Putaira with the topic of biotechnology for sustainable agriculture. And then the second speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Ganesan Padamalai. This is in the plant protection. So if you have any question in insect pests or in the disease, plant disease. Okay, I will check first in the chat. Okay, may I see in the, there is one question in the inbox chat for Professor Handayani. The question is, soil is considered as key role to regulate water cycle through water storage and to sustain terrestrial biodiversity ecosystem function. How do important geochemical processes rule long-term sustainable of soil and water resources? And is there any model to adopt sustainable management practices to improve soil restoration and water quality technologies? So this is the question from Nafila Taufik Arenafe, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Jakarta. So time is yours, Prof. Handayani, Prof. Iin.
Thank you for the question. That Ibu Nafila. Thank you. Well, in my mind, I think for the roots, okay, or the foundation to improve the sustainability related to biochemical cycling, actually we have to have a good soil organic matter, okay? So in the soil, in a mineral soil, actually we have to have at least 5%. That's the ideal one. Unfortunately, in Indonesia, we might have soil organic matter less than 5%, maybe 3%. If we have 3%, this is already good. But if you have 1% or 2%, that's not really good. And then how we manage the soil organic matter content in the topsoil especially, okay? In the topsoil, so it depends on what kind of soil, especially if your soil is kind of old soil, oxysoil or ultisoil, or young soil like inceptisoil, then you need to manage your soil organic matter. And the key is to manage the crop residue or plant residue more than 30% on the topsoil, on the soil surface. Okay, and also you cannot use that monoculture system like rice all the time. So we have to kind of rice and soybean, corn and soybean. So we have legume. So it's kind of, we have addition of nitrogen, not just kind of taking up nitrogen all the time, because when we try to improve soil organic matter, we have to kind of balance with additional nitrogen resources, like maybe chicken manure or anything that what we call soil amendments. That is for old soil order. But if you have soil like volcanic soil, that will be different story, because that kind of soil is already wonderful fertility. So at least even though have a low very soft the soil, but in terms of fertility is good. So, and make sure also that in Indonesia or tropical country, we have a lot of clay. So we have to make sure that we can manage the clay by putting more soil organic matter on the topsoil. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Iin. Answering the question from Nafila Taufik Arif Nafre. And the second question addressed to Dr. Ganesan. This question is from Delphima Da Costa. Dr. Ganesan, how biomass mulching can effectively control fall armyworm from maize crop? So, Dr. Ganesan, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the question. So actually, the application of mulching, biomass mulching, it's not not direct control on FAW. It's meant to, in one of the trials in one smallholders farm, because mulching enhances soil biological activity and increase the soil organic carbon, thus providing what you call improvement in plant growth. Also, it provides habitat for natural enemies. And in one of the research, one of the studies, they found that mulching increased the abundance of insect predators in the maize farm, in the corn farm, that led to the decrease in the density of fall armyworm. So basically, it enhances or brings in the insect predators in maize, and that leads to the reduced control or suppression of the fall armyworm. So it's a sort of like indirect control. So this is an observation from one farm, but of course, a smallholder farm. So we need to do more in large scale to see the actual effectiveness of these practices. But it gives a good what you call a place to start. Okay, so if by providing mulches and that brings in natural enemies for particular pests, then that's a good way, because we can reduce the chemical input.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ganesan. Okay, now we have the third question. This question goes to Professor Utaira. Prof. Utaira, talking about genetic improvement and biotechnology for sustainable aquaculture. You mentioned that not all genetic improvement methods use biotechnology approach. Is there any specific reason for this? Because we are here in Indonesia, yeah, I think this is from Mirna, because we are here in Indonesia, try to culture the swim fish, which is blackfish, such as a kissing gourami, climbing birds, and snake skin gourami, but we do not have any enough research yet. Could you mind to give us suggestion regarding to genetic improvement of this kind of fish? Prof. Utaira, time is yours. Prof. Utaira, are you there? Oh, okay, thank you. So I think Prof. Utaira is not here, so we will come to the next question. This question is addressed to Professor Iin from Dedi Budianta. Professor Iin, what do you think that in a tropical region has high rainfall? This is a main problem in tropical, causing leach out some element, even organic matter. How to maintain the soil health in this area without human interfere?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for Professor Dedi Budianta. And well, unfortunately, in a tropical area like in Indonesia or Southeast Asia, you know, the leaching because of rainfall is so crazy. So it will make mostly the basic cations gone, like calcium, magnesium, potassium, and we only get the bad cation, which is iron and aluminum, which is cause soil acidity. So one thing that if we cannot interfere with like our expertise to create like more cations, give more cations to the soil, you know, tropical soil that is kind of too acid, and also maybe we cannot, we cannot use organic matter because the organic matter will be just gone because of decompose so much. And also the quality of organic matter maybe is kind of more nitrogen and phosphorus, so it's the decomposition is so high. So one thing that I can suggest is use the plants that already adapt on that condition. So maybe we can have kind of the program from biotechnology create like rice or any crops that can adapt on the level of low acidity, like in Indonesia. And also we can also try to find local plants or local crops, indigenous crops that can adjust on the soil that very acid. So this is one thing that we can try to find, because in Indonesia, high biodiversity, we can find plants, indigenous plant, local plants that can adapt on that condition. I have experience when I was in Sumatra that two plants, I know it's not crop plants, but this is a good opportunity for other plants, Melasthoma malabatricum and also Chromolena odorata. Both of them can adjust living in the soil that has less cations, basic cations, I mean, and then too much acidity, and then also we can use the biomass as a soil amendment for the next crop. So this is kind of organic fertilizer from local plants or indigenous plants. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Iin. And the next question is addressed to Dr. Kanesan. Dr. Kansan, this question is from Arina Pre from Universitas Sriwijaya. Thank you for your inspiring talks and insights. I have questions. pattern of distribution of seed or seedling survival depend on several factors such as intra and interspecific competition. Is there any study or model to show how important distance and density dependent seed predation and seed predation, which may generate all of the observed recruitment patterns and plant dispersal and animal predation characteristics. The relationship between climate and recruitment is also still poorly understood. Why interaction between temperature fluctuation and pest attack are important at the recruitment stage? I think there are 3 questions. So Dr. Ganesan, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the questions. I'm not sure I can be able to answer all of them for your expectation, but just for your concern, in terms of studying the models on distance, density and distance dependent on pests and disease attack, especially seeds, because there's different types of planting. Either you, in rice, for example, you have direct seeding, you have transplants and so on. That will affect, because the distance between the plant or seedlings, seeds that grows in a particular field, it affects the microenvironment. So that microenvironment can lead to new pest attacks, or also it works the other way, that can propagate natural enemies. So if you ask me whether there is a study or model conducted in relation to addressing pests and disease, I'm not sure that there are many that being done. I am doing currently one in rice fields right now. The difference between direct seeding and transplanting, and the distance with the appearance of bacterial leaf blight and panicle blight. But of course, that's in the early stages. But I think the growth in terms of overall growth of plant health, maybe we can find publications in agronomic point of view. But plant pests and disease control point of view, I'm not aware of much study on models relating to distance, but the distance affect microclimate. That is true, and that can affect both ways. Can bring up pest and disease, especially fungal and bacterial disease, which requires a lot of moisture and so on. With relation between climate and recruitment, why are the interactions between temperature fluctuation and pest attack are important? Well, as you know, at planting, climate, the weather pattern is very important. That affects the pests and disease also in the plant, because some of these pests are travelers. They travel during season, so you have to monitor the season where these pests will come in. So you try to avoid, if you're particularly planting a particular, try to avoid the seasons when the potential pests are there. But some of them, like for example, fungi, bacteria, the soil-based microbes, they normally tend to come off during the raining or wet season, because they need water for dispersal and spread. Okay, so that's why temperature fluctuation affects the severity or the incidence of disease. And if you're talking about early age, is very important, because when the plants are young, they are still vulnerable. They are building up. It's not an immune plant, doesn't have immune system. But if the plant is generally growing well and growing vigorously, they can generally fight back with the pest attacks. They have sort of tendency to repel the pest attacks. So initial stages is very important because they are weak. So we need to guide the plants now, take necessary precautions in terms of density and maintenance and seasonal. You have to know all that. That's why monitoring all this is an important aspect. There is no direct answer to say, yes, you must do this, or no, you mustn't do that, because it depends on the host pathogen and depends on the environment interaction. I hope I at least shed some light into, if not, I've directly answered your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ganesan. And we still have 2 questions. for Prof. Iin. The first one from Dr. Mula Barman from Unsri. Prof. Iin, how much the content of organic matter in biochar? And the second question from Dr. Dwi Setiawan, also addressed to Professor Handayani. Is there an example models? Is there an example of models linking soil health to forest health under post-mining reclamation? Thank you. So, Prof. Iin, time is yours.
Thank you. Well, for the first one from Dr. Mula Warman, so it depends on what kind of plants or material that we like to make for biochar. For example, based on my experience, research in Sumatra before and also in United States, that if the plants or the material has high nitrogen, usually the carbon content, so we call soil carbon content, not soil carbon, sorry, carbon content in the biochar usually kind of less compared to if you have kind of more lignin or compared to the nitrogen. So it depends on the ratio of lignin and nitrogen. For example, if you have sengon compared to acacia, compared to alang-alang, that will create differences in the biochar, the carbon in the biochar. So based on my previous research, I think alang-alang provide the highest carbon compared to others. Okay, and then the second question is about the, in post-mining reclamation. Oh yes, of course. When we talk about soil health, actually we can talk with any kind of ecosystem, forest, agroforestry, plantation. So it's kind of nice, working in soil health. I can be in different projects and working with different peoples. And for forest, actually, because in Indonesia it's very common, you grow trees in the post-mining reclamation or soil restoration. Yeah, you can create, like, for example, a model. For example, the indicator of the healthy trees, for example, the diameter of the trees, the height, and the biomass, for example, the biomass production, like the biomass that go into the soil or fell into the soil. And then you relate with the physical, chemical, and biological properties of the soil itself. And so far, there are a lot of research, especially related to the ability of soil to sequester carbon to provide the healthy environment for trees growth in post-mining reclamation. So even in Kentucky, researcher in University of Kentucky, when I was in college over there, we did some research, like we grow trees, okay, and then we measure what kind of soil properties that change because of that trees, and also we measure what kind of soil health conditions when we kind of grow trees, and then what happened after several years. Of course, when we talk about soil health assessment, we have to do monitoring. So if you kind of apply a proposal, then you have to get monitoring, like not just like every year, but you have 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, because this one is kind of short-term and long-term restoration. So there is a linking between forest health and also soil health, absolutely. And if you have interest on that, that is very, very good research opportunity in the future, especially in tropical area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Iin. I think this is a very interesting discussion, but unfortunately, time is limited. So we have to finish our discussion. Thank you for all participants. Thank you for your attention. Thank you also for keynote speaker. Thank you for your sharing of available knowledge. We have gained knowledge about sustainable aquaculture, sustainable crop, insect pest management, and soil science. Hopefully, this knowledge will increase our awareness of the sustainable of the world, especially for the next generation. Thank you. Okay, now I return this mic to MC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yulia, for running the session very well. And of course, great appreciation is expressed to all the speakers for inspiring presentation. Therefore, we would like to pass the certificate of appreciation to all keynote speakers in this plenary session 1. Okay, the first certificate is for Professor Iin Handayani. Thank you very much, Prof, for the inspiring insight. Thank you very much. And
You are
the
welcome.
next,
Thank you.
and the next for Associate Professor Dr. Ganesan Padamalai. Thank you for sharing your expertise and knowledge with us.
Thank
Dokter.
you. Terima kasih.
Makasih, Dokter. And finally, also for Professor Utairat, also I guess that she's no longer joining us online. Still, high appreciation is conveyed to her. Okay, that was the end of session 1. And right after this, we are having the plenary session 2. But before that, I would like to remind you again for all non-presenting participants to also register to the conference account, because the certificate will only be given to those who are registered. So make sure that you don't miss it, and also the attendance list, don't miss it. Okay, moving on to the session 2, we will be having Dr. Glenn B. Gregorio, the Director of SAC-SAFSE, Professor Fili Pratama from Universitas Sriwijaya, and also Dr. Desianto Utomo, PhD, the Vice President of Deep Technology, Charun Pokpan Indonesia, as the speakers. This session will be led by Dr. Sabarudin. Dr. Sabarudin, I'm passing the stage to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for all audiences who are still online today. In the second season, we had 3 speakers who are very resourceful people, and they are going to present and share their experiences, the research result that they have been so far to us, and therefore I would like to spend a few minutes to introduce the 3 speakers by reading their short CVs. The first speaker is Professor Glenn Borja Gregorio, who is now a director of SAC-SAFSE in the Philippines, and then he is also a professor in crop breeding and genetic resource division, Institute of Crop Science, until now in the Philippines, Los Banos. He has already received some award and credential, outstanding award and credential, and he is also a member of several professional societies, among which now he is still the president of Society for Advancement of Breeding Research in Asia and Oceania, and then has published around 109 articles with 8,578 citations and I index of 45. Professor Glenn Borja Gregorio will give a topic on food on an increasingly hot plate. Climate is changing and farming must change too. And then I would like to check, can you hear me, Professor Glenn Borja? I hope you are online. Professor Gregorio, are you online? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, I will check it later on. Please, there is a message from Professor Gregorio that he cannot unmute. Please, the host, give us a hand to unmute the mic. Okay, while it's handled by the committee, the host, I would like to introduce the second speaker. Is Professor Fili Pratama. She is now a Vice Dean 1 for Academic Affairs at the Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Sriwijaya, and she is also a professor in Agriculture Product Technology at the Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Sriwijaya. And she also has some separate award, among which is Inventor of the Year in South Sumatra 2014. And then she also have in total, she also has in total 17 patents, consisting of granted patent, 10 granted patents, 3 pending patents, and the other 4 registered patents. She has also published some article in Indonesian and national and international journal, and also being a speaker in various seminar. Professor Philip Pratama will give a talk on green technology in food processing, creating a better future for the next generations. Professor Philip Pratama, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Pak Sabar.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Ibu Fili. And the third speaker is Desianto Budi Utomo, PhD. She used to be a lecturer and researcher in the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, Erlangga University. And then currently, Dr. Utomo is a Vice President in Feed Technology at the CPI. And also Vice President of Government Academic License CPI in Jakarta. Dr. Utomo will talk about sustainable feed industry, focusing on feed industry. Let me check if Dr. Utomo can hear me.
Hello. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I'm replaced for Dr. Desianto because Desianto right now is with the Minister of Agriculture to check the stock of the corn in Indonesia.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Apologize
for the update. Okay. Next, we have about 60 minutes. So each of the presenter will have about maximum of 20 minutes to present the slides, and hopefully less than that, because so if it is less than that, we can have more time for discussions. For those who are going to raise some questions, you can write your questions in chat rooms, and then you need to mention to whom the question will be addressed, or you can raise your hand directly. Okay, I would like to invite the first speaker, that is Professor Gorio from the SIARCA, to present and to share his research results and experiences. Professor Gorio, room is yours.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. Good morning, pleasant good morning to everyone. Thank you for having me for this Sriwijaya conference. And I like your theme for the conference on sustainable agriculture, farming system, and environment. In short, you will call it sustainable food systems. Okay, thank you for your kind introduction. And actually, as mentioned by the moderator, I'm a professor at UPLB. I'm a geneticist, actually a plant breeder. And now I'm serving as the Center Director of Southeast Asian Regional Center for Graduate Study and Research in Agriculture. So I have a lot of hats with me. At the same time, I'm also glad to share that I'm also elected as the 2021 UN Food System Champion. So that's why I'm really glad to share with you what I learned more on climate change. But I want to make a title of my presentation, as I'm sharing now, on food on an increasingly hot plate, or climate is changing. So agriculture or farming must change too. So if everything is changing, ourselves, we have to change too also. Okay, so let's see. I'll go to the next slide. Okay, so as we have now, Okay, as we in our recent at Circa, we just recently launched for 1 year now our 11th 5-year plan. In here we saw that we need to rethink how we approach things, particularly in terms of how we view agriculture and how we view food and how we view food production. And of course, my main focus now is on our discussion today is more on sustainable agriculture and climate change. So clearly we could see here, you can see the present and the future of agriculture, farmers, from a new mindset that we want to, from the old mindset of farming is production to a new mindset that farming is sustainable agribusiness. So clearly there is a need for accelerated transformation in agriculture sector so it can be fully maximized for our human well-being. So we strongly believe that systematic and integrated innovation here would require a new mindset where farming is viewed as a sustainable agribusiness. This is in contrast with the traditional view of farming is merely about production. So we now talk about practice and apply ecosystem thinking, circular value chain, future for products and services, low ecological footprint, digital agriculture or digital agriculture 4.0, and the need for the next agriculture and rural development transformative leaders for Southeast Asia. This is the whole thing, how we approach things. I think most of our key presenters have mentioned each part of this one. I hope once you combine all the presentation, you could see here how we could really reinforce transformation. We could transform agricultural food system in Indonesia and Southeast Asia. In this one, I just want to share that in our 11th 5-year plan for Circa, and I hope in all different countries, we could see here that our focus in 7 priority areas which are directly or indirectly related to climate change, which is the main topic assigned to me, climate change and food production. Particularly, I would say that we have the number 6 priority areas, which is enhance agriculture and rural development towards climate resilience. You can see here in my topic, which is climate change, is actually very complex, but just in a simple term, I will say climate change is a climate patterns associated with increase in temperature or increase or decrease in temperature and caused directly or indirectly to human activity that alters the composition of the global atmosphere, in which is in addition to natural climate variability observed over comparative time period. So I have to mention natural climate variation observed over comparative time period. So don't say that yesterday it rained, now there's no rain, it's climate change. Actually, that's only change of weather. Climate change is the long period change. So we have to be careful. We always say change of climate. Climate change is a pattern. Okay, so sorry. I have to say here that because of this, what shall we do? We have to rethink food security. This is what I'm saying, changing the mindset, rethinking food security. Our experience with COVID-19 highlights the importance of how we define food security, which in turn becomes the basis of how we design programs and projects to achieve it. So this is what I'm saying, rethinking food security. As consumers are now becoming more aware about the intricate linkage between what we have on our plate with the quantity and the quality of farm production, it's high time for the public to appreciate the value of agriculture and the implication of climate change. Agriculture sector could then capitalize this increasingly strengthening agriculture system as we look at it as a food system. So we have to think differently about food security with climate change and the pandemic that we are experiencing right now. And after I mentioned about rethinking about food security, we have to add it on this is sowing the seed of curiosity. We need to support more of, we have to be curious on our research and how we could support how we rethink our food security. Seeing food security as a coordination problem, both the government and the private sector would use this experience with COVID-19 to rethink how we pursue food production, consumption, and work towards a transformative change in agricultural system that is sustainable, inclusive, and resilient. So COVID-19 and climate change together, it's a complex problem. So in here, I will say that there is a need to support more academe, which we are now the academe, industry, and government interconnectivity models, which will be critical to operationalize the connection between among the nodes of the supply chains. This academe, industry, government interconnectivity model would also highlight the linkage between the rural farming system and the urban consumption pattern and vice versa. So we have to look at it in the whole food value system. So in short, as we transformative systematic change in agricultural food system, it means rethinking food security plus sowing the seed of curiosity. So we have to change of mindset, change how we think food security. At the same time, what shall we do? Sowing the seed of curiosity, research and how we apply it to make it applicable to our farmers. Okay. So I will go back again to climate change. So with its climate change, I will say climate change excludes no one. So climate change, weather pattern, rising of sea level, and increasingly extreme weather events are occurring and was affecting economies and countless lives around the globe. And this is directly affecting our food security. It threatens the availability of food, the access of our food, utilization, production, stability, and food supply. So I will just read here that climate change is projected to result of more intense, frequent, and longer extreme events such as drought and flooding, salinization, heat problem, and it also affect the access of our food supplies. And also you could see here that increase in temperature already have negative effect on our yields. Next, you can see here that climate change also affects staple crop production. Most of our banana plantation, rice, corn are affected. I will not give you the details of this one, but we could feel this one. If too much temperature or low temperature, too much water or no water. So those are the effects that we are experiencing right now. The other thing is the climate extremes such as flood and drought might have a negative impact on nutrition outcomes because of the lower yield, the plants are not healthy, then the food that we're taking, the nutrition value of this product is also affected. So everything is affected because of this climate change. Okay, so climate change, what's the effect of climate change in our agriculture or in our food security directly? So it affects first is the availability of sufficient quality of food for consumption. Change in climate and temperature can reduce agricultural productions and affects dietary diversity as well. It also affects the access of stability of food supply. I will say it's also utilization or the quality, safety, and nutrition of our food. So that's the summary that I have to say. But what can we do? What can be done? So I will show you what we are doing at the Southeast Asian Regional Center for Graduate Study and Research and Agriculture. We call it the SAC-SAFSE, just to give you an idea what we're doing and what other things that have been done, the recent research on this aspect. So first, at SAC in 2015, SAC developed an umbrella program on climate change adaptation and mitigation, or we call it CHARM, for Southeast Asia to be the platform for collaborative research and development and knowledge management and capacity development on climate change adaptation and resiliency in Southeast Asia. You could always go to our website and you could get all information relating to climate change. It is hoped that the synergy created by the umbrella program can produce added value in terms of new knowledge, technologies, capabilities, processes, and input to policies at the national and the ASEAN level, that what is currently being generated by institutions working on this on their own specific research agenda. So you could see here what our other countries are doing, so we could compare notes and we could use this as a benchmark. We have also on this program was the CIRCA Knowledge Center on Climate Change Adaptation in Agriculture and Natural Resources Management. So in Southeast Asia, we call it KC3. This initiative gathered the fragmented and inaccessible body of knowledge on climate change and organize, package, and share it in formats to understand and replicate it in various areas. So we want here to package all those research information and put it in a bite size, or package it so that it will be understandable to the masses, to the children, to the high schooler, even to the policymakers. So we have this KC3. We have also this, we call it under our 11 5-year plan, we have this function to carry out the agriculture, forestry, natural resource management platform. This aims to create an enabling environment that will accelerate transformation through agricultural innovation by creating opportunities for knowledge sharing and learning with various stakeholders. So I'm encouraging you to go to our website to learn more of this one. Now, what can youth do? So I want to provoke, I want to challenge the youth. What can you do? Because you have a very good position now, how you could influence the policymakers, how you influence us who are already old right now. So at the ground level, there are many things, especially as young people. What can you do? Climate change has increased the level of uncertainty of our future and its impact and intensify over time. One thing has become certain: we will leave this earth to today's children and young people and to the future generation. However, the young people are not the victims. They also carry a lot of potential to carry out and accelerating climate action. The youth possess massive power to advocate for change and to hold decision makers accountable. So it is good that the young people are now increasingly aware of the challenges and the risks presented by the climate crisis and the opportunity to achieve sustainable development brought by a solution to climate change. So you are youth, you have the power to advocate for change. Okay, now, as I mentioned, I was with the International Rice Research Institute before, and for 29 years, I've been working for climate change ready crop varieties, especially for rice. And I am dealing more on flooding, drought, and cool temperature as a classic problem to crop productivity. Higher temperature, lower yields, that's my experience in rice. Change in rainfall pattern negatively affects production. Seawater rise, increase salinity and cause stagnant water in the deltas, and makes crops less productive. So this is in the first picture, you can see this, that's my visit in Indonesia long time ago. You could see these areas affected by salinity and drought. We have problem with drought, we have problem of salinity, we have a problem of flooding, but there's a lot of combinations also. You could see here also, just to give you the recent, we call it submergence tolerant rice, where it's developed at Erie. I know you are familiar with this one. We are teaching the rice how to dive or how to survive. So we incorporate the genes for salt tolerance to this, like in Indonesia, the Chihirang variety. We incorporate the gene, and the Chihirang become more tolerant to drought compared to, in short, it becomes more tolerant. The quality and the cultural management are the same, but they are more tolerant to flooding up to 2 weeks. That's the story. So you could see here, like we incorporate this gene to sub-1 variety. So you could compare now the farmer on the left side is using the The Swarna sub-1 with the gene of submergence tolerant. This is not GMO, by the way. This is by natural, conventional using molecular markers. And the Swarna. So after flooding, they have to replant, and the other one, they don't need to replant. So it's very empowering to the farmer. So we have also drought tolerance. It's available. It's just a matter of accessing it, making rice less thirsty, because rice likes a lot of water, but we have made rice less thirsty. You have also, this is very near my heart, we want to have a tolerant rice variety. So before, in the coastal areas, you have a lot of areas in South Kalimantan, you have a lot of areas in Indonesia, you have a lot of coastal areas, you need salt tolerant, and we developed more than 20 varieties that is salt tolerant, and it's just a matter of applying it in your country. So this is my project with the Bill Gates Foundation when he visited us at Erie, where I explained what's the result of the stress tolerant crop varieties that we have developed for Africa and South Asia. So in short, this is my take-home message to my final remarks. I will say that we always have to contend with climate change in agriculture. Transforming rice farmers to be more resilient to climate change need more science and technology enabling, that is climate change ready crop varieties, quality seeds, mechanization, digital farming, smart fertilization, nutritional revolution, and farming water saving technology. Agriculture must be treated as a business and industry, and our farmers must become more equipped to be more profitable and be more competitive in farming by lowering the cost of production. The other things, another final remarks I will say is explore more value addition to our crop products. That's another seminar. More innovative research on climate change ready crops, and tools are now available to challenge climate change, but still very expensive. You have to make it more research to make it more applicable to the farmers. Both the climate change ready crop varieties, best farming technology should be downloaded to the farmers and financiers so that they will understand the importance of this climate change ready crop varieties. Shift to integrated and diversified farming system, which was mentioned by our previous speakers. Think like an entrepreneur in whatever you do in agriculture. Think as a businessman, because you will be resilient if you think like a businessman, because you're thinking of the profit and you're thinking of the output. And again, another final remarks, climate change in agriculture is not just a problem. We have to look at it as a challenge. It is a driver for research and business. So look at it, not only a problem, but an opportunity for research and business. Be ready for ASEAN integration. It is ASEAN integration, which I will not be mentioned in the detail. It is a challenge, but also an opportunity. We need each other as we work together. There's an interconnectivity. That means that we need to start working together from the very start. Academic, industry, government interconnectivity. Youth are our powerhouse to make things happen in sustainable food system. And again, just to say again, climate is changing. Agriculture must change too. So we need transformative systematic change in agriculture and food system, that is rethink how we think food security and sowing the seed for curiosity. So I think that's my last slide. Thank you very much, and good afternoon, good morning.
Thank you very much, Professor Giorgio. Some highlights that I can extract from the presentation is it is important to transform for current paradigm to new paradigm in agriculture, and we need to change. We need to rethinking food as a systems, and then seeding curiosity, which is quite good. And we are not only seeing agriculture as a production system, but also as a business system in future. Thank you very much, Mr. Giorgio, and I'm sure there will be some questions for you later on. Next speaker, I would like to invite Professor Philly Pratama to present her views and result of research and experiences. Professor Philly Pratama, the room is yours. You have 20 minutes.
Thank you very much to Dr. Sabarudin. I try to spend to no more than 20 minutes. It's a very distinct pleasure for me to be here today in Sriwijaya conference and have the opportunity to share a presentation entitled with Green Technology in Food Processing, Creating a Better Future for the Next Generation. I am Philip Pratama from Faculty of Agriculture, Sriwijaya University. Green is a very popular word. As the earlier keynote speaker said, healthy food can be produced if they grow in a healthy soil. And what I can say here, healthy plants should be processed in healthy way to get a healthy food for our health. In this, for this solution, green technology in food processing play an important role. There are many definitions for green technology. However, the basic line here should be minimal impact on environment, pollution, safe for human, and sustainable natural resources. Green technology in food processing is a set of technology used in food processing in respect of maintaining ecosystem resilience and food nutrients. A rapid growth of population and lifestyle are the driving forces of technological changes. So it's the time for us to change. A larger population breeds more educated individuals, creating intense competition, triggers development of highly sophisticated technology. So every human needs food. Food is the basic need for human. The development in food technology should be based on environmentally safe practices, healthy and nutritious produce. In relation to method of food processing, we can say that there are conventional food processing, modern, and the combination between conventional and modern food processing. The choice of those processing depends on the final goal of the process, cost, durability, and nutritional value. However, some consequences might occur in food processing, including food waste, environmental damage, nutrient loss, diminished active compound. As reported by UN Environment Programme 2021, food waste is mostly generated in household, stand by 61%, food services 26%, and retails 13%. Therefore, we should be redesigned for zero food waste processing. By repurposing food waste is an alternative solution. In this occasion, I would like to highlight some technological processes that might inspire agricultural entrepreneurs to produce products that are nutritious and safe to be consumed. And one aspect that should be taken into account in choosing in food processing is generating products should be palatable and aesthetically pleasing. And technology that I'm going to present here are not novel technology. However, with innovative thinking and effort, we can repurpose. I say again, repurpose the technology for other applications that we might not previously think of. The non-thermal processing that I work on my PhD research is supercritical carbon dioxide. There are 3 stages of carbon dioxide: gas, liquid, solid. But another state that are very useful in food processing is supercritical carbon dioxide. It is a very good solvent. It is inert and can be processed in room temperature. But they usually use for extracting active compound. But in my research here, supercritical carbon dioxide used as a carrier for aromatic compound into milled rice kernel. Only takes time, the very short time of food processing for processing this aromatic rice, only 5 minutes. 5 minutes, you can think 5 minutes. 5 minutes supercritical carbon dioxide can bring the aromatic compound into the core of the rice kernel. No more than 5 minutes. If more than 5 minutes, you can see from the left photos here of the rice kernel, there will be two white streaks appear. So therefore, this aromatic processing for the rice is very short time, only 5 minutes. This figure shows that the aromatic compound could be brought into the core of the rice. During 100 hours of exposure time to the open air, the aromatic compound could be retained inside the rice kernel. So it means that this supercritical carbon dioxide is a very good carrier to bring the aroma compound into the rice. One of my colleagues, Saputra, make the installation for the supercritical apparatus to a simpler apparatus. As you can see here, there's only one single chamber and gas cylinder for the carbon dioxide. This equipment was used to wash off chloramphenicol in fresh shrimps. And at the same time, not only chloramphenicol was off by using the supercritical carbon dioxide, but it also can kill Salmonella typhi. So it means this solvent is very effective, work in two ways to reduce chloramphenicol and kill Salmonella typhi. And one of my students, PhD students, a couple of years ago, worked on preserving tempeh by using supercritical carbon dioxide. It was a cold pasteurization for preserving tempeh. Tempeh that's processed in liquid carbon dioxide could be preserved for 4 days at room temperature without significantly changing the physical changes. And other technologies that I could deliver here is ultrasonic wave. Sound waves are classified based on its range of frequency. Humans can detect 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz of the wave of sound wave. On the other hand, the ultrasonic wave is located above 20 kilohertz. And one of the important areas scientific study in which ultrasonic can have is the immersion. Enormous impact is cavitation. The cavitation energy is very powerful to modify starch, remove fatty acid residue, extract active compound. In one of my research, ultrasonic wave was used to reduce total sugar content in fresh pineapple. It can reduce the sugar content from 13.7% Brix into 6.3% Brix at the frequency of 20 kilohertz for 30 minutes of immersion. And for 40 kilohertz in 30 minutes of immersion, the total sugar can be reduced to 5.53% Brix. So it is a very powerful technology to reduce total sugar in fresh food. And other thermal food processing is microwave. Microwave has high heat. Although it's high heat application, but due to very short time heating, it only reduces a very tiny amount of nutritional value. And it also can be used for modified starch. One of my research to modify tapioca for noodle making. So without wheat flour, with the modification of tapioca can be used to make noodle. And other application of microwave is to extract the active compound. Only 30 seconds, it could be used, could be extract the active compound in some plants. In this slide, I showed it for water hyacinth, the leaf of water hyacinth to extract the chlorophyll. And this is the flower of water hyacinth. By using the microwave, the pigment in water hyacinth flower can be extracted. As you can see, the color is very beautiful by using microwave. By only 30 seconds, the pigment could be extracted. Another use of microwave also for puffing fish crackers. A typical fish crackers from Palembang is the thickness. It's very thick and high content of protein. And it is difficult for us to fry using the deep fry. However, by using microwave and a limited amount of moisture content, the fish cracker can be puffed into a perfect puff. Okay, you can see this photograph. This is the uncooked fish cracker, and this is the process of fish cracker by microwave in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, it can be puffed, and it's a very healthy food because no or very low fat content. So talking about green technology in food processing, there are still a lot of other technology can be used for green food technologies. However, the most important thing is we should repurposing the technology application. This repurposing technology application could be combined by 2 or 3 technologies to get a certain goal for the food production. So with a little bit innovative thinking and effort, we can develop a new food technology with the existing technology nowadays we have. In conclusion, I would like to say that nature conservancy in food technology can be achieved by implementing sustainable food processing practices with minimal risk to the environment. Adopting green technology concept can improve current practice of food processing to conserve the environment for the future of our next generation. So it's time to change. It's time to change the process to get a healthy food, to adapt to the world that also changed due to the global warming. Let's do something to save the world, create a better future for our next generation by consuming a healthy food with processing by green food processing. Thank you very much. I return to Sabarudin.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ibu Philly, for sharing the views and also the experiences in food technology. Ibu Philly highlights some views, what 2 of them which are important to support food security. Food processing is an important change to provide healthy food in futures. And also, if we are talking about healthy food, we are also at the same time working on effort how to sustain the environment for the futures. Again, thank you very much, Bu Billy, and please stay online. There will be some questions to you, and I hope you can later on give us some more insight. For the next, let me invite Mr. Hudian Pramudia Sunu from CPI to present their experiences especially in feed technology. At the same, you have a 20-minute maximum, and now the room is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
Clean and clear. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation in Sriwijaya conference this morning. It's my pleasure to have the presentation. Little bit correction. I'm not from CP, but I'm from the Indonesian Feed Association.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Apologize that Pak Desianto, our chairman, cannot join this event because he's on the way to go to Central Java with the Minister of Agriculture. Can you share my presentation?
Host, can anybody help us? Thank you.
Okay. We will talk to talk about the sustainable of feed industry. Next, please. First of all, I would like to highlight the Indonesian condition. As the many person know that Indonesia is the largest archipelago country in the world, consisting of the 7,500 islands. And then, as you know, that we have the 5.8 million square kilometer marine areas. And then our population, Indonesian population right now is reached about 270 million people, which is all this condition is make the Indonesia is huge market for the food as well as for the feed industry. Next. Indonesia as a maritime country, 45% of the world trade commodity and product go to the Indonesia, and then the value is about the 1,500 trillion US dollar per year across the sea of the Indonesian archipelago. Third for Indonesian territory is oceans. We manage 200 miles exclusive economic zone, and then Indonesia also have the second longest coastline in the world after the Canada. Next. This is we Indonesian also have the population growth. This is the estimation Indonesian population from 2015 until 2045. This is a potential huge market for the I mean for the food as well as for the feed industry. At 2045, we estimate that the population of the Indonesia will grow to about 320 million people. This is a proportion of food both in terms of the quantity and quality, and then the feed quantity and quality will continue to increase. Next presentation. Now we talk about the specific of the Indonesian feed mill industry outlook. Next. Indonesian Feed Mill Association, or in Indonesian language is a GPMT. GPMT meaning a Gabungan Perusahaan Makanan Ternak, is a non-profit association for poultry and aquaculture founded on October 30, 1976. And then we also have the member from the poultry, fish, and shrimp feed. Right now we have 44 company our member, which is 96 factory in Indonesia. Our tech pad is Feed the Nation. Next. Feed mill capacity. Now I would like to share the feed mill capacity this year, including the aquaculture feed. As you know, as you can see in here, that in the Java itself, Banten and West Java, Jakarta, and then the Central Java is we have the biggest factory in the Java Island, as well as the capacity. Total capacity in Indonesia for the feed mill is the 29.6 million per year. Next. 90% of the feed production is a poultry. Aquaculture hold about the 60%, and then the others like a ruminant and the others is picked about 4%. If you can see in here, if we want to know the poultry feed production itself, 2020 a little bit decreased because we have a pandemic. From the, if compared to 2019, we produce about 20.5 million ton of feed. 2020 is 18.9 metric ton of feed. In aquaculture, it's the same condition with the poultry feed. We in 2020 a little bit decreased compared to 2019. For the poultry itself, 58% of production feed is a broiler feed, and then layer is about 18%, and then the concentrate layer is about 9%. For the aquaculture, 81% produce fish feed, and then 90% is shrimp feed. Next. Talking about the feed industry, the raw material itself is hold the important in here, because the cost structure of the feed 80 until 80% is depend on the raw material price. Next. Talking about the supply chains in feed industry, we have this struggle situation, especially in this year, starting from the 2020 when we have the pandemic. The raw material price is rise for all the raw material. It is international raw material price, and then we do have to face the difficulty on the value added tax on many import of feed ingredients. Talking about the VAT of the import feed ingredients, if we compare to other countries like in Malaysia or in Vietnam, feed industry in Indonesia has a very lot of the VAT on many import of feed ingredients. One example is like in Malaysia, they do not have the import duty as well as the VAT on the import on the feed ingredients. Talking about the logistic, we struggle on the containers because many containers go to China. That's impact to the lack of the availability of the containers. So the container itself is very expensive in 2020, starting from the 2020. Production, national poultry feed production estimate to grow 5% compared to the 2020. We predict that the can produce about 19.85 million metric ton of feed. And then as I mentioned before, the structural feed cost is held by the raw material is hold the important point in here, because 80 to 85% cost structure of feed is the raw material, depend on the raw material. And then the cost formulation, we do use the list cost formulations, and then the moving average price. So as you know that if the raw material increase, example for this month, increase the price of the raw material is not directly impact to the feed price, but maybe on the next month the feed price will be adjust. Next, the raw material supply chains. I highlight the yellow in here for the feed production costs are influenced by the feed ingredients. And then there are 110 large-scale feed mills in the 10 provinces in Indonesia, with the capacity in 2020 is about 29.7 million tons per year. And 90% of the feed produced is poultry feed. And then if we talk about the farm itself, the feed cost dominate about 70% of the chicken farming cost. As you can see in the television right now, the chicken farmers are very have difficult situation because live bird marketing is still traditional, and because of the pandemic, the price in the live bird and the price of the egg in the farms is very low. Next. Talking about the aqua feed industry, about 10% of the total feed production in Indonesia is aqua feed, which is 20% of shrimp feed and 80% of fish feed. Shrimp has been listed as national strategic planning. The Indonesian government has the target to increase until 250% growth export in 2024. Fish and shrimp as alternative of edible animal protein besides the poultry and livestock. The need to focus on research of alternative raw material and feed additive to be scaling up to the industrial scale. As you know that the composition local and then the international local and import ingredients, 90% of our raw material is local and 35% is import. But the value of the comparison of value of the import and local, the import still hold about 60% value, and then the local is about 35 until 40%. Then, okay, now we talk about the challenges. Next, we still do have to face the pandemic situation, and it's not only the feed industry that has the impact from the pandemic, and then but also all the industry has the impact because of the pandemic. As we know that the automotive and then the construction manufacturing has the potential loser for the business, but agriculture and the e-commerce short term in Indonesia percentage of the GDP, we in the position of the winner business in Indonesia. I mean in the pandemic situation. Next. As our government, the Indonesian governments have the target to be the ideal to be the Indonesian as the world food bank, and Indonesia also the world's largest food importer like a wheat and etc. Also we know we have to face that the Brazil encourage chicken import to Indonesia. That's very difficult situation if the chicken from Brazil enter to Indonesia. Next. The new material. Talking about the new material, we support the Indonesian government to use the local source, raw material source. But until now, we already use about the 65% of the local source raw material. Compared to other countries like Malaysia or Vietnam or in Thailand, Indonesia use the biggest local source of raw material. But we not stop until that. We still improve to use the local source. But there are three conditions that very important to using the local source. We try to challenge the new material. The first one is that the new local source raw material is has the competitive price. Or the second is the stability of quality, and then the third point is the continuous of supply. This is the source of feed raw materials. As you can see in here, that we use 100% of local corn. But the soybean meal, we use 100% import. This is for your information, which one that we use the local and which one is the import. Next. Opportunity on solution.
Excuse me, you have 4 minutes left, Pak Hudian. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Opportunity, poultry and aquaculture feed as a started industry. This opportunity promising, and then chicken meat, the best source of animal protein, consume a lot. Consumption of meat and eggs still low, yeah, compared to the Asian country. Next. Per capita, we know that the Indonesia still low for the egg and as well as the chicken consumption compared to other country. Next. I try to compare. This is not about why we still low consumption of egg and the chicken. It's not about the purchasing power, but if I try to compare to the cigarette consumption, Indonesia has the biggest cigarette consumption compared to the Asian to other Asian country. So we try to educate the people in Indonesia to increase it more for the chicken and then the egg. Next, please. Support that we need for the feed industry from our governments. Until now, we still discuss with the government related with the value added tax on the raw material. And then we also asking Indonesian government to provide the import duty for some of the raw material, free of import duty, availability and competitive price for the local raw material, and then we do have many topics to discuss with the Indonesian government right now related with the export-import policy, and then also with the corn supply in Indonesia. Next. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Hudian. You highlighted some current conditions, existing conditions, and then you also mentioned some challenges in futures, mainly due to contraction in business due to COVID-19. And also you also highlight the effort to increase the local content in feed tech and feed productions in Indonesia. And also you mentioned about effort to find new materials for feed productions, but the challenges are mainly on availability, quality, and also continuity. The three aspects are quite important, I think. And then also you also mentioned about future opportunity in future, which is still widely open. However, a strong support from government is quite important. I think there's some highlight that you mentioned. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Pak Hadian. I hope you can still join us. There might be some questions asked by the audience, and I'd like to end this season and begin to Q&A seasons. Until now, there have been some questions while waiting for the others. I would like to let me share the question so we can all read the question that has coming up. There are two questions to Prof. Gregorio. That is from Marvelli, Statistic Bureau of South Sumatra. Do you have any recommendations on method that we can adopt to monitor the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to food insecurity around the people? And the second question is from Mr. Dr. Arin April from University of Sriwijaya. He said, in my knowledge, there is still no news about the big shortage of food availability during this COVID-19 pandemic era. But in my mind, government policies should be swiftly and comprehensively focused on protecting everyone from food shortage. Based on your food security expertise and point of view, what is your perspective about quick and severe impact of COVID-19 on the poor or low-income people who will obviously jeopardize food security in their household? And those are two questions to Professor Gulan. I would like to give you the room to you to respond to these two questions. The room is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for those questions, very relevant question. I will answer first the second question, is asking about the impact of COVID-19 for the poor and low-income people. At the same time, he's asking about, there's no news about the food shortage in different countries. You are right, there's no news about food shortage. I think the news is more on the problem of distribution because of the logistics, transport lockdown. The distribution of food is the problem. So there's I think most of the government have their own storage area for their food, for the rice and other cereals, and the cold chain, but the distribution is the problem. So some food are not arriving. Actually, some areas we have too much food because the restaurants are not open, so they were just stuck. But actually, because of the pandemic, many of you are right, many of our people are suffering, and even the poverty line has been increasing. So it means that more people are poor now because of that one, because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic. The problem, the poor people become poorer, and some of the not so poor become poor because of the livelihood problem and the shortage of manual labor. So access to input seeds, but actually our government is trying to help also by providing them some food, at the same time giving them some money. So we have to strengthen our financial technology where the farmers should know how to use financial online to make to receive their money, and they have this also opportunity for them also to diversify, and because people are now more aware of how to eat food and nutritious food, so the farmers should strategize what food they will be selling, because the food are are more expensive right now. So that's my quick question, my quick answer. And I will answer also the second question is that is related on the methods that we can adopt to monitor the impact of COVID-19 pandemic to the food insecurity of the people. I know how to, there's a lot of procedures in the literature. I know you're a statistician, you have a lot of, but what my recommendation is, you have to monitor using the whole value chain. You have to analyze it using from the production to the processing to the distribution and up to the consumption. So we have to analyze it in that pattern. We just published our book on the agriculture and Asian Journal for Agriculture and Development. I want you to go to that volume 17, number 1. in 2020. This is assessing the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on agriculture production in Southeast Asia. I wrote this article. This is towards transformative change in agricultural food system. So you could go to this journal because we have some procedures or methodologies we had adapted in this area. So the impact of this one is, of course, we have, just to give you an idea, that more than 100 million people have been affected by this in Southeast Asia, and 1.4% in our reduction of our GDP is in Southeast Asia. So that's my quick answer, but I want to refer you to this journal. You could access it freely. It's an agricultural Asian Journal for Agriculture and Development, 2020, volume 17, number 1, assessing the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on agriculture production in Southeast Asia. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Professor Giorgio. You have a very comprehensive answer, and you highlight three main points. One is distributions. Now, is although available, the food is there, but distribution is restricted now due to COVID. And then also, all government have tried hard to cope with the food supply, and then how to provide people with food and enough money and sort of thing. And also, you also underline the importance of value chain analysis, not only the production, but also from the upstream to lower streams. And then the last one, you also, thank you very much for sharing the publication. I think everyone will be quite interested in assessing that journal. Thank you very much. And I would like to continue to a question to Ibu Fili. There is one question from Ibu Tami Wikaningrum. How about electricity consumptions in operating microwave in green food processing? It is already plotted in a study or not? That's Ibu Fili. The floor is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sabarudin. And I'm so sorry, Tammy, that I haven't assessed the electricity consumption they are used in food processing. I might need a colleague from electrical engineering to work on it. But I think with the short time of processing and the nutritional value that can be kept in the produce, I think it's worth it. It is worth it to process food processing by using a microwave or ultrasonic wave for food production. I think it is worth it. Yeah, worth it if you look at the quality of the product and the short time of processing. That's what I can say. It might be another study that I might propose to conduct the electricity consumption for the application of this technology. Thank you, Pak Sabarudin.
Thank you very much, Bu Philip, for your answer. You highlighted the also the importance to study on how much electricity consumed in using the microwave and sort of things. Yeah, it's kind of how to work on the carbon footprint, and it can be done actually. And I still have one question, just coming in a few seconds ago to Ibu Fili from Ibu Nafilat Taufik Arinapil. It is assumed that 800 million people are starving, and it's estimated that 2 billion people are malnourished. Good sustainable production practices are always developed, as you mentioned, to attain healthy and high equality next generations. Agricultural products should be healthy with high quality in nutrition, for example, superfood. How ready Indonesian government in preparing agile generation in future through COVID-19 pandemic conditions? The room is yours, Bu Fili.
Okay, thank you very much. Who is this? Nafila.
Nafila.
Nafila, thank you for the questions. Talking about it is real now that many people starve from food during this pandemic, COVID-19. But however, we cannot work alone. I cannot work alone. Dr. Gregoria cannot work alone, and Professor Iin cannot work alone. We all together work together to overcome this situation. As Professor Handayani said, that healthy soil produce healthy food, healthy plant. Okay, and for this healthy plant should be processed in healthy way. So for producing good quality of food product, I cannot work alone. I cannot work alone. So all the people should work together to overcome this situation. So as you can say, of course, the technology that I deliver in this talk is a very maybe need a high cost. I know that need a high cost, but during this pandemic area, so might be impossible to apply in food processing, but many people starve for food production. So all of us work together to solve this problem. So I knew that it is difficult to develop a superfood in the kind of situation with the high technology. But anyway, we can cope this situation, work together, and we can solve for the starve problem, Pak Sabar, in this pandemic COVID-19 area. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Fili. Highlight the importance of collaborations in doing research, for example, in searching for new technologies, and how to apply a concept of HIT. HIT is a holistic, integrative, thematic, and spatial. And I hope this seminar will produce collaboration among Philippines, Thailand, and Indonesia, and other Asian country members in future. We still have times about 20 to 25 minutes, and I would like to invite any other questions if there are any. You can raise your hand, or you can type your question in the chat columns, please. We have very resourceful, 3 resourceful person this seasons. They all have long experience and history of research in food technology and sustainable agriculture and sort of thing. Yeah, please. Any other questions? No? Should we end this seasons? I'll still give you a few minutes. Okay, no question. Okay, I would like to thank we all would like to thank to our 3 resourceful speakers today, and they have shared their views, experiences, and also expectation for futures, and which is quite valuable to us, not only to us, but also to next generations, how to prepare strong and productive, innovative young generation in futures. We start from the food, we start from the soil. Healthy soil give you healthy plant and healthy food. But of course, we have to also start developing views that farming is not only production of food and production of yield, but also as a business in future. Thank you very much, and I hope you all in good health and good shapes. And I hope we can discuss much more thing today, but I think the time is also limited, and I'd like to return the room to Mr. MC. Mrs. MC, room is yours. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Sabarudin, for moderating the session and also for all keynote speakers. As a token of our appreciation for the valuable contribution, we would like also to symbolize the delivery of e-certificate. The first certificate Okay, we're waiting. Okay, the first certificate is to Professor Glenn P. Gregorio. Thank you very much, Prof, for very interesting topic that you share with us just now. Thank you. And the next one is for Professor Pili. Terima kasih, Prof. Pili, for a very nice presentation. And finally, to Dr. Desianto Utomo, PhD, as a keynote speaker, which is in the session, it was represented by Bapak Hudian Pramudia Sunu, the Executive Secretary of Indonesian Feed Mill Association. Thank you very much, Bapak Pramudia Sunu. Ladies and gentlemen, we have already listened and paid attention to the fruitful and informative materials from all keynote speakers. And right after lunch break at 1 p.m., we will start the parallel session for the presenters and invited speakers. But we hope that you are already back online at 12:50, okay, so that the committee will have enough time to assign you to the respective room. And there will be a SIG room, and each have a PIC and the moderator. And we have the rule here that will be shared by the committee. Let's see. Okay, for the simplistic movement of participants to the suitably designated parallel rooms, please ensure that you have changed your name according to the criteria set in this conference, which is presented in this slide. Please pay attention to point number 3, that the presenters have to rename their Zoom name with room, name, and topic, while the participants also have to rename accordingly room, name of, and also name and participant. Put it the label participant. And presenters and participants should use the virtual background shared by the committee. And during the parallel session, participants and presenters should activate the camera. And each presenter is given a presentation time, oral or video, maximum for 10 minutes. And participants can ask questions in the chat column by writing clearly addressed to anyone. Question will be recapitulated by the room PIC and answered during the discussion session. Questions are limited to 3 questions per session. Presenters and participants should following the parallel session orderly. And we also have later the best presenters and best speaker. And all right, now it's time for lunch break, and we will start again our session at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you very much.